It's late November 2008, and we're on Cape Cod. It's one of those nights, howling winds, driving rains, and it is cold. My Aunt Mary has fallen outside of her home. She was discovered at daybreak when a neighbor was out walking their dog, covered with a blanket, and called 911. Aunt Mary had been living alone since Uncle Bill died, and she was getting frail. She had been navigating the loss of losing a loved one. And now in her late 80s, she was going to need to leave her home and move to an assisted living. Now, Aunt Mary, she was very special to me. She was the oldest sister of my father's 3 sisters. And she was a bit of a badass. She was a Marine in World War II. And this strong, independent woman was going to need some assistance through this transition. So I decided to send her cards, letters. I would even color pages from a coloring book and mail them to her. Now, I send a lot of cards. It's actually one of my superpowers. But rarely do I get many back in return. But this time it was different. Aunt Mary started to write to me. We became pen pals. Through our letter writing, we had something tangible to show as a demonstration of our love and caring for each other. In fact, Aunt Mary took one of these cards and she taped it to her wall as a symbol of hope. She said it reminded her of her daughter, Joni. It was of a girl smiling. She had not heard from her daughter in years. In today's world, we can communicate faster and easier than ever. We can send a message around the world in a blink of an eye. Yet with that ease, something has been lost. We've exchanged meaningful communication for fast, often shallow interaction. By a show of hands, who has received the dreaded HBD text on their birthday? Ah, yes. Or maybe the prayer emoji for expressing sorrow or sympathy. It's fast, it's easy, obligation done. Yet was it meaningful? Did it even feel human? Now, my mother trained us to write handwritten thank you cards for every gift we were given. It was way easier to pick up the phone in those days, but we were trained to pen to write these cards. We went to the store to pick out the card. We sat down to write it. We stamped it, and we took it to the post office to mail it. I have great memories of writing those cards. Dear grandmother, thank you so much for the pink polka dot pajamas that you gave me. When I wear them, I will think about how cool you are. Thank you very much. Love, Paula. Sure, they all sounded kind of the same, but yet we still wrote them. Recently, my in-laws passed away at the age of 89, 1 week apart. And in the sea of digital sympathies and condolences, there were texts, there were emails, there were lots of social media posts. But they missed the mark. They failed to bring in that emotion that was needed at that time. But one card stood out. It was from a friend who had been through a similar loss. It wasn't perfect and it wasn't fancy, but her words meant something. They meant more than any abbreviation or emoji could ever mean. Today, as a financial planner, I work with widows at one of the most confusing and painful times of their lives. It's not just a time of loss, it's a time of being completely lost. And in those moments, the simple gesture of a handwritten note is so much more. It's an actual lifeline. It says to her, I see you. I care about you. You are not alone. It gives these women something tangible to read over and over in the deepest, darkest moments of despair. I know what some of you are thinking. But Paula, my handwriting is a mess. Like, seriously, it's like chicken scratch, right? I don't even know where to start. Stamps? You need stamps? Is this like 1995? Where do you even get stamps these days? But remember this, your handwriting could be a mess, your words could be simple, but what matters is that you took the time to write. In fact, the imperfections, the smudge of ink, the crossed out or misspelled words, the creases on the paper, that's what makes it human. Because this note isn't about you, it's about them. It's remembering that you took the time to sit down and write to them. Remember I told you about the card from Aunt Mary that she had taped to the wall? Well, one day in the mail, I get a card from her. And it says, "Last night I had a dream. I dreamed that my daughter Joni had come to visit me. And when I woke up in the morning, she was standing there. My daughter had come to visit." I held that card and read it with tears of joy in my eyes. Soon after that, Aunt Mary died. She had found her peace. In fact, in this box are the cards that Aunt Mary and I wrote to each other over 6 years. She had started to send me packages of the cards that I wrote to her. They are more than just a moment in time. When I look at these cards, I remember the care that went into each and every one of them. They are a moment captured in time. So here's my challenge to you. Who in your life right now could use a handwritten note? Think of just one person, someone who's been on your mind, someone who's going through something, someone you'd like to reconnect with. Got them? Now write their name down. And when you get home today, make this connection real again. It doesn't matter what you say, but I promise you, just write from your heart. And when they open it, they will feel it. Because the handwritten note, in all its simplicity, is a reminder of our human connection. Some of the most meaningful moments in my life have been marked by the handwritten note. A note that you can hold in your hand, that you can feel, that you can fold, that you can tuck into a drawer or even hang on the fridge. This simple handwritten note is a way to show our love, compassion, and human connection. In a world that's moving faster than the speed of light, we need to remember to slow down and just write. So grab your pen and let the words just flow across the paper, because you never know how much your words are going to mean in someone else's world.